Buying your first home in the UK sounds really simple, but most people make at least one mistake on the journey, which can cost thousands of pounds. Or it could even lose you the property altogether. So let's walk through the entire process step by step so you don't get caught out. So you've got your income, you've got your deposit, and now you're sat there thinking, where on earth do I start? My name's Joseph and you can call me Joe. I am a mortgage and protection advisor in the UK and I help people like you every single day go through this journey. And by the end of the video, you're going to have a full understanding of every step that you need to take along the way and how you can avoid not only potentially missing out on a property, but saving money along the way. Step one is nice and simple. What can I afford? This is where your mortgage in principle comes. And again, I put this at step one on purpose because getting this sorted right away is the best thing you can do to plan successfully. And this is where a lot of people make their first mistake. They skip this step, they fall in love with the property, and it turns out they can't afford it. So understanding and getting your agreement in principle allows you to understand not only your budget, your affordability, your monthly payments. It allows you to really plan and find a purchase price that is comfortable with you in direct correlation to what deposit you're going to commit towards it. So getting your agreement in principle and understanding your budget now means that you know roughly the interest rate, the monthly payments, the mortgage term, what fixed deals might be more appropriate for yourself, the total amount that you can buy a property for, including what deposit you're committing for the purchase. All these are fantastic steps that all go under step one, affordability. Step two, and this is where things get nice and fun, is house hunting. Looking for properties on Rightmove, Zoopla, and even going out and viewing properties with estate agents is super exciting. But this is where things can go wrong. Things can get emotional and you can start making decisions too quickly, which potentially leads to making mistakes on the journey. I've seen buyers make offers on the first property they like the look of, and it ended up being a mistake. Staying disciplined and basically looking at all the options available to you when house hunting in step two is the most important step on the journey, because you're guaranteeing that you have looked at your options, you've assessed where you want to be for the medium to long term, and whichever one you end up committing for, it's going to be an informed decision. But the only way to make an informed decision is to actually go out and view a bunch of properties, find what you like, find what you don't like, and then make a decision based on what's right for you and your family. Now, step number three, which is where things get very interesting. Step number three is making an offer on a property. So you've gone out, you've viewed a bunch of properties, you know what you like the look of, and you've found a property you want to proceed with. And now you're thinking, how do I secure this property? I want it to be my home. The short answer is you need to make an offer on the property. If you offer too low, you run the risk of losing the property. And if you offer too high, you're overpaying, potentially losing out on a lot of money that didn't need to be lost if you plan accordingly. So this is where negotiations are extremely important. It should always be at the top of your mind when putting an offer in on a property. Now, it's extremely important to understand that you may face competition at this point in the process, the first time in this process where you are facing competition. And the most important insight I can give you is if a seller, which is represented by an estate agent, receives two offers for the exact same amount of money, but one person is more prepared than the other person, guess who's going to win that purchase? So again, we've followed the process, we've got our agreement, we've done our search properly, we've put a formal offer in on a property that is an educated offer. So the agreement in principle in combination with proof of deposit and potentially solicitor's details and also your own personal situation explained on the email shows you are prepared as best as you possibly can be, which puts your offer in the best possible light. And once your offer is accepted, this is where things get really serious. Most people think the hardest part about buying a home is actually finding the property. But what if I was to tell you most deals fall apart after your offer is accepted? Step 4 in the process is your mortgage application. This is where lenders fully assess not only you and your personal situation, but the property as well. This is where deals can fall apart. Even when your offer is accepted on a property, that doesn't guarantee that a lender's going to be happy with you, your personal situation, and also the property in combination with that. So again, if we've followed these steps accordingly and we've got our agreement in principle, we know our affordability, you have boosted your chances of not only having a lender accept the property because you've done your research, you've found a good quality property, you've been out and viewed the property and made sure that actually you're getting a fair value and the quality of the build is in good condition as much as you can as a non-professional surveyor, unless you are a professional surveyor. And also you planned your personal situation so you know that affordability wise you're not going to run into any issues at the mortgage application. So following steps 1 through 4, you have basically put yourself in a most advantageous position you possibly can to mitigate any risks of step 4 going wrong for yourself. Again, you can either trust your own ability to find the right lender at this stage or trust your mortgage advisor from the outset and they'll find an appropriate deal. And we've already briefly mentioned it. Step 5 is surveys and valuation. This is where the lender checks what the value of the property is. And it's also where you should be checking what the condition of the property is. Now, the valuation is the lender's assessment. If they come back and value a property lower than what you've offered on it and what you've had accepted on it, this potentially opens up the doors to 3 different scenarios. The first one is you may need to renegotiate the purchase price. If the lender tells you it's not worth what you're paying for it, then you may need to go into the seller or to the estate agent and say, right, I need to change or we need to have a discussion around the original agreed purchase price. The second scenario is that you stomach the difference. You know, if they downvalue a property by £10,000, you have to pay the difference, whereas they're only willing to lend against the value that they've said the property is worth. Therefore, the difference is made up by you, the buyer. And the third potential scenario is you walk away from the deal, because we've seen down valuations in the past where it's too much to stomach for a buyer, therefore they just walk away from the deal altogether. Now, private surveys also comes under this section, but it's a completely different kettle of fish. A private survey is for you, the buyer. It's to make sure that there's no hidden issues with the property, so when you become the legal owner, you're not going to uncover some dirty truths around the property or be told that the structure of the property is in a bad condition and needs tens of thousands of pounds worth of repairs, when actually you could have potentially found this out before you became the legal owner and negotiated that into the price, or potentially even had it repaired prior to moving in. People try and save £500 to £800 on a private survey and end up getting stung way more than that when they become the legal owner. So it's very much a situation of pay now, save later, or save now, pay later in most scenarios. And again, there's an inherent risk that you are buying a property without knowing the true condition of that property. Step 6 in the process is the legal process. Conveyancing, searches. This is arguably the least exciting part of the process, but it is one of the most important. This is where a lot of work goes from your conveyancer to the seller's conveyancer and a bit of back and forth, which is what they call inquiries. This is to essentially make sure that once you're the legal owner of the property, you're fully aware of anything and everything that you'd be responsible for, and all those potential risks are mitigated by your conveyancer. If there's any legal problems with owning that property, they are there to make sure they are identified before becoming the legal owner. So they're basically your armor. Now, I'd be lying if I said at this stage things don't fall apart, because they can. If your solicitor identifies a massive risk of being the legal owner of that property and they highlight it and there's no way to mitigate that risk, then of course things can fall through even after a full successful mortgage offer. Step 7 in the process is exchange of contracts. This is the exciting point where everything becomes legally binding. Before this moment, you can lose out on the property at any given moment. Once you have exchanged contracts, everything is in motion. And step 8 in the process is the best part, it's completion. This is when you finally get a hold of those keys. And as much as it's wrapped up when you exchange contracts, this is when it actually becomes real, because you have the keys, you're moving into your house, and it's your time to make it into a home. Now, quickly, the biggest mistakes that we see is people not getting a mortgage in principle as step 1. This means that you're not planning accordingly, you've potentially got an unrealistic budget in place, and everything can go wrong from step 1. An overstretched budget is a really, really bad place to be, so having your agreement in principle set up as step 1 is the best way to start things off in the best possible way. And the other really, really big mistake I see is people choosing either the wrong mortgage lender or the wrong mortgage advisor. Now remember, going to the wrong mortgage lender potentially means that you're getting a more expensive deal with no actual benefit of this. Going to the wrong advisor is basically employing someone to be on your team when they aren't cut out for the job. So they kind of go hand in hand. Having a good advisor means that you get the right mortgage, for you and your family. But also having the right advisor means that the process is a lot less stressful, because they should be there every step of the way, guiding you and answering any and all questions you have, making sure that you're well informed through the whole journey. And it's really, really key to remember a mortgage advisor is on your team and a estate agent is on the seller's team. If you remember this, you're going to be successful on your journey. Pick your team very carefully. So buying your home isn't just about finding a property. It's about making the right and informed decisions every step of the way. And if you want someone to guide you through every single step of that journey, you've come to the right place. There is a link in the video description where you can click on it and go through to my meeting page. You're going to be able to see dates and times that are available for a meeting. Booking the call, I'll be there ready to support you on your journey, answering any and all of your questions and guiding you step by step through the process. Now you understand how to buy your first home step by step, it's really important you click on the video on your screen so you can fully understand how to save money when buying your house. And you are in a perfect position to go into that video and get the absolute most out of it. Now you understand the process. Go work out how you can save some money, and I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon.